Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris, and as you can see, Russ is not with us tonight, but we do have a couple of special guests. We have Renee and Pete.
Hello.
Both
Hello.
both of whom you might know from the Tavern Knights show that we do every other Friday night. And that's actually one of the things. Hey, CD or Sea Dog, whatever it is. We are it's a family affair. Yes, it is. And we're going to be talking a lot of D&D tonight.
Mhm.
So we're actually going to do this is an idea that I had, kind of goes along with what Critical Role does with their Talks Machina shows. This would be Tavern Talk. It's going to be we're going to talk some D&D. We're going to talk about the show itself, where the adventure's gone, what the characters are doing, maybe a little bit about your characters. I don't want you guys giving anything away that you haven't given away in the show or anything like that yet.
Mhm.
But we can talk about your characters a little bit and where they're going, that type of thing. So we'll see where it takes us, and we'll see if we get into some other stuff too. So, but. Starting off, I guess we'll just start a quick how things have been. We didn't play last week, but my week was pretty much normal. It was a normal work week for me. Not a whole lot going on. I'm hearing an echo, and it wasn't. I mean, nothing special. It was work, curling. Now that we're back to that, and that was about it.
Yeah, it's good to hear that you're curling again.
Yeah, Cyberpunk
how-
fucked me, so I can't play that right now. Their
Yeah,
their latest
the
patch
fix that broke the game.
Yeah, their fix that broke the game.
Yeah.
They have a their latest patch 1.1 introduced they were fixing one bug, and for the same mission wound up introducing a game breaking bug.
Oh gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
I have not downloaded that yet. I haven't had the chance to play in a little over a week. So
Yeah,
I'm a
so
bit behind on that.
Basically, it's you talk with this guy, you take him to see this one fixer, you talk to her, you leave. He says, "I'll call you tomorrow," and then you part ways, and then you have to wait 24 hours for him to call you. Well, I guess he wasn't calling people, so the call was never coming in, which doesn't stop you from doing anything. You just can't continue down that storyline. The introduction of this bug, he instantly calls me because I just happen to be on that mission with him.
Okay.
He instantly calls me the second I am in a certain area, or just not in one of the other missions, and his picture comes up, and he never says a word. He just sits there on my screen. And
gosh.
there's no way to hang up the call. There's no way to get him to talk. And as long as that call is up, you cannot interact with anyone else in the game.
Yeah, that would be very frustrating. So that means that you can't even just do side quests and just go around.
Right. I can go around and beat up some guys and stuff like that, but I can't really do anything else. I can't talk to anyone.
Yeah, and happily where I'm at in the game, I'm not at that point yet, but I haven't been playing because I feel bad that I can play and you can't.
Oh, don't feel bad about it. Play.
But I started crocheting again anyway.
So have they responded when they're actually going to be patching that patch?
They came out with a workaround, but you have to have a previous save that's far enough back that you haven't gotten to that yet. So, and I don't have any saves that aren't at least at that point or later. So I don't have a save to go back to. They say they're working on a hot fix that they're hoping to have out as soon as possible, whatever that'll be.
So once you enter that, even if you were to shut down the game, restart it, it's still up there.
Yep, because I could start a new game and start over, 50 hours ago. I've got 50 hours into this game, and I'm at a point where it's broken the game. So
yeah, I'm about 20 in. So, but still, that you're restarting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about 25 to 30 hours in.
Just curious,
Yeah.
which direction did you go from the beginning?
You mean like Street Kid or?
Yeah,
I went Street Kid.
I went Street Kid.
Street Kid also.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, like corporate or nomad.
Yeah, I almost went corpo.
I almost went nomad just to try it.
And I may try like a corpo later. This game I think is going to be replayable. That's the thing.
I agree.
I think it really is going to be replayable. I do kind of want to replay it as a female character because I think that it's going to be a very different experience playing it that way. From what I've heard, a lot of the romance stuff is actually geared more towards a female character. So there's more romance options.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing a female V.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I want to keep doing, because the character's name is V, I just want to keep doing the V for Vendetta soliloquy. All the V stuff. I'm like,
it's because it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's one of the best monologues ever.
But I was going to play that for Friday Night Firefight this week. I've been kind of frustrated with Mech Warrior. And I just wanted a break from it. So I was going to play Cyberpunk.
Because you're tier 3 now.
Yeah,
you're on a whole different level.
I'm on a whole different world. It's definitely different. But I'm still going up a lot of times. So, but I was going to play some Cyberpunk. And I'm like, it still fits. Friday Night Firefight. I get into a lot of firefights. So I think I'm like, that'll be cool. And I'm like, I can't play it. I can't fucking play it. And I had spent the day, the early evening, actually resetting up my office space, which I'm so much happier with the way that this is set up now. I've got my monitors raised up, so I've got some extra room underneath. I've got my mic set up over here on the side now instead of like way up over here above. And so I really like the way I've got things set up. But we'll see how it goes later. I'm looking forward to doing Tavern Knights this week, though.
Yeah.
Big time, yeah. After spending so much time,
we killed a dragon.
I know. I'm so happy. We finally took it. It only took a little over a year to get to a dragon.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in just a minute. What we'll start off with right now, though, is what are you guys drinking? Let's go, ladies first.
Of course.
I'm drinking what you gave me.
Oh, that's right.
You have the bottle.
Yeah. So okay, we'll get to that in just a minute.
My backup though is something that you reviewed, and that's Baltimore Blonde by Guinness, because I'm out of my normal Guinness. Didn't realize there's actually acetylene in the bottle.
What about you, Pete? What are you drinking?
I mean, it's a standard blonde. It's a good representation of the style.
Oh, okay, cool.
I am drinking Dragon's Milk Solera.
That's a good one.
Which I believe that you've reviewed on here before.
Yep.
Aged in a series of American oak foeders using a blending technique known as Solera. Nuanced flavors of caramel, toffee, fig create an experience made to be savored. The legendary ale that continued to evolve with each pull from the foeders, becoming more complex over time. And it's the first time that I've given it a try. Always been a big fan of Dragon's Milk, and this one, never disappoints. So
yeah, that cool. I really like that one. That's a really good, I think, sipping beer.
Yeah,
it's just
with how it's a 10 ABV, so
yeah, and it's one of those
not something that you want to have down two of really quickly.
Yeah, and that's one of those that it's got it's got that flavor profile that changes as it warms. I think it gets more robust and brings out a lot of the flavors as it warms up just a little bit. I don't think it's good necessarily at like room temperature, but at like the traditional draft temperature of like the low 50s, I think it would be really good.
I actually just been chilling it in my garage.
Okay.
And I think that was just perfect.
Cool. Well, I am drinking what Renee's drinking, and this is actually a beer I've been saving for a long time, and I thought today was actually a great day to have this because it actually also marks an anniversary. The first brewery Renee and I ever went to together, and it was actually our first out of town trip together when we got together was actually today.
It's like our first like date too.
Yeah, it was 8 years ago today, and we went to Arcadia Brewing in Battle Creek, Michigan, and took a tour of the brewery, sat and talked with one of the cellar guys, hung out, got to see their stuff.
Had some amazing food.
Tried every beer on tap because they just kept feeding us beer.
Yeah, we were like the only people in the bar because we went in the middle of the day.
Yeah, we went at like we have to reserve like a time, and it was $5 to do the brewery tour, but you get a glass and a beer. So I'm like, okay, sure. And they bring us in, you sign in, and they were like, all right, come on over to the bar and you know, what kind of beers do you like? And I'm like, well, I know I like this one, and this one. Angler's Ale to this day is still one of my favorite pale ales. It was done by them. It was one of my early craft beer finds. It was one of the beers that really got me into craft beer, and we really enjoyed our time there. Just had a great time. Great bartender, great tour guide, and great food, like Renee said. Unfortunately, they are now closed permanently. And some mismanagement. Yeah, there was some mismanagement.
They kind of did it to themselves.
Yes. Yeah, there was mismanagement and stuff, but
it's what happens when you don't pay city taxes for 5 years.
I forget who it is. Somebody bought their recipes, though.
Did they?
Yeah, somebody actually bought their recipes and was talking about actually putting them out as part of theirs, and they were going to make it
that would be great.
Because they always had good quality selection.
Yep, and this is one of their barrel aged series. They did the whole wax seal and everything like that. And this is Serial Killer. This is their barley wine ale. It is a malt beverage aged in oak bourbon barrels. It is 70 IBU and 12% ABV. It unfortunately doesn't have the date on here. I was really hoping it did because I think this is at least 3 years old. I've had this for a long time.
We've been sitting on this bottle for a while.
Yeah, and it's a barley wine, so it can be aged.
Yeah, absolutely.
For quite a while. And so I figured I'd pull it out, and it definitely has a boozy aroma. And you actually get some of the oak too.
Not overwhelming though, is it?
No, it's not overwhelming. No, it's a lot of malt. There's even some like raisin or fig notes, I think, in the aroma.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely like fig. Almost like dates.
And then tasting it, you get that same flavor. You get that like date molasses type of flavor.
Deep, rich, warm.
Yeah, and then you get that alcohol at the end. You definitely get a little bit of that alcohol warmth at the back of the throat. It doesn't quite have that feeling of love that goes down the esophagus, but it's definitely a warm.
No,
and I think this is
RJBC that does that.
Yeah, I think this is one that as it warms, and I'm actually gonna hold it like this to warm it up a little bit. I think as this warms, it's gonna get more complex, and I think it's gonna become even more enjoyable as it goes. But honestly, I didn't care for Serial Killer the first time I had it. That was also much earlier in my craft beer experience and stuff. So now I gotta say, I actually enjoy this. This is one. Renee and I split this. It's only a 12-ounce bottle, but I'll tell you what, this 6 ounces is about enough.
Plenty.
I wouldn't want more than 10.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want more than a 10 ounce pull of this. But yeah, it's you won't be able to find it unfortunately anymore. But yeah, it's the barrel aged Serial Killer.
You might be able to find like leftover bottles at a craft shop, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it won't be easy. But yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a little on the sweet side for my personal palate, but I like dry product. So what?
CD's drinking the Wisconsin Belgian Red.
Oh, Nick you bastard!
Well, it's the Wisconsin Belgian Red. Oh, we actually have some of that down there in the basement. Still,
we need to go back.
Yeah, we got like 2 bottles left.
Oh, we need to make a Wisconsin trip.
That is probably the best cherry beer I've ever had.
Agreed.
We drank a lot
It's
of that
so
when we were
good.
there. We just kept getting more of those.
Yeah,
We even bought
just
the
drank a
glasses.
lot.
We even bought the glasses, the
Mhm.
tall glasses that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
New
need to make
Glarus
a
is
new
good.
Glarus run again.
Yep. Yeah, we do. Well, we should go back next year. We can look into going to the Halloween spiel in Madison.
Yeah.
You, me, Clappy.
And-
You, me, Clappy. And we'll have to find a fourth.
Yeah. But
Provided-
we're not driving with that fourth person because we need room in the car for beer.
Yes.
We barely fit Jay in the car.
Yeah. Well, last time we went, Renee and I drove in the
This
Escape.
is a story.
Yeah. So Renee and I drove from Detroit to Madison for the Madison spiel. Halloween
Just
spiel.
us. The other
Just
two
the two of
team
us.
members flew.
The other 2 team members flew out. The 4 of us went on Saturday. We had like 6 hours between our draws. So we were like, fuck it, let's go to New Glarus. We wanted to go anyway.
Mhm.
So we head over to New Glarus. We got...
Cute town, by the way.
It is. Yeah. We got a shit ton of beer. I mean, to the point where the
We
back of the
had
Escape was full, and they're like...
$400 of beer in the car.
Yeah, 500.
500 between all 4 of us.
Yeah. So we packed it all in there, and our 2 teammates were like, "Will you drive the beer home for us? Because we definitely can't do it." And we're like, "Yeah,
No.
sure." So they're buying cases and stuff. So
you can't get New Glarus outside of Wisconsin.
I know.
You can't get it here. They only distribute within state, which is the same thing that Griffin Claw does.
Yeah. So we did that, and then like on the last day, one of our club members got stranded by his team because his skip threw a hissy fit and just left.
Yeah. Up then left.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
And he's like, "Can you give me a ride back to Chicago?" And we're like, we don't have a lot of room. Most of our stuff's in the back seat now," because he's like, "I don't care. I'll find a way to fit." And we're like, "Okay."
Yeah, and happily he's a little guy.
Yeah. We actually almost told him, CD, that he might have to have beer on his lap.
He had his curling bag on his lap the entire time because there wasn't room.
Yeah. But yeah.
We just needed to get into Chicago.
Yeah. So I mean, it was only like an hour and a half trip.
Yeah.
He was in northern Chicago, so it wasn't that bad. And it kind of took us we weren't going to go that way, but I think it actually ended up being a faster route than what Waze was telling us to begin with, because it was going to have us go all the way around Chicago to avoid the traffic. And I think going through, even sitting in traffic, because there was traffic, I think we still made pretty good time. So
yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, but yeah, no, New Glarus was a lot of fun. We showed up, and I had brought a 12-pack of just an assortment of Bee Nectar's product.
Oh, that's cool.
Because of course I knew we were going to go to at least one brewery, and trading is a thing amongst people in the industry. And I gave them essentially a 12-pack of an assortment of Griffin Claw, and they gave me the equivalent back. I'm sorry, not Griffin Claw, Bee Nectar.
Bee Nectar.
Yeah, they're like, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
We got that one sour of theirs down there.
We have 2.
Yeah.
We have their 2 sours, so we should probably crack open.
Yeah. Because that was 2 years ago now that we went there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was.
A little over.
That was fun. We need to do a New Glarus run again.
Different times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping by October we'll be back to some semblance of normal. That the vaccines will have been out. People will be past all of this horrible COVID bullshit, and actually be able to.
Hopefully, we'll be able to go to Ireland in August.
My company is saying that we are, regardless of what's happening right now, like with distribution, we'll be working from home at least until June 30th. And that's something that they announced over 6 months ago.
Yeah, we've been told April is when they want to start bringing people back in, but that'll of course depend on what's going on. Even our CTO, who was talking to us about it, said that doesn't mean everyone's coming back in April. It means we're going to stage it. And he goes, in all honesty, he goes, I don't know anything yet. We haven't really decided, but I'm going to say we're going to say we're going to start bringing people back in April, but we won't have everyone back until we'll be bringing some people back in April, May, June. We probably won't have everyone back until July.
Yeah. And that's if cases continue to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's only if we don't have another spike.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good, CD. Hopefully everything will start reopening.
Yeah.
So
I'm missing the days of our trivia nights.
yes.
Yep.
I would love to get back to doing that. And although
And then
I gotta say,
actually around the table for D&D.
That's what I really want to.
That's what I miss.
Don't really realize, like, it's great that we can still do it, and that we're doing it more often than what we used to.
Mm-hmm.
Is
doing
one of
it
you
like every
playing
2 to 3 weeks.
the audio? Because I can hear it.
Nope.
I have it on my phone, but my audio is off.
I'm hearing something.
I don't know what you hear because I have it muted.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have anything playing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's muted.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. All right. But yeah. So speaking of that, though, I do want to play around the table again. I'm printing all those tiles out. I actually just printed out some secret doors the other day.
Printed a fucking scary orc shaman.
Yeah, I actually got back to printing on my my resin printer, because I got some plant-based resin, and it's supposed to not smell as bad. It still does smell. It's probably not as intense, but it still filled the basement with the smell of resin. But I made a thing of popcorn later in the day, shortly after I finished printing, and that's all. Renee came downstairs. She's like, "I smell popcorn," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's all I smell down here now."
I didn't smell the
like,
resin at all.
It like wiped out the resin smell. So I'm like, okay, so I print something. I have some popcorn.
How are you liking your 3D printer, Pete?
Great. It doesn't really have that smell from what I've noticed.
Do you have a filament?
You got the filament printer though, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. See,
that's
the filament doesn't have a smell. The filament has a little bit of a smell, but it's not like an intense, like gonna give you a headache, melting plastic type smell.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless you use ABS, in which case I guess that does have that smell.
No, I'm using PLA.
Yeah, that's what I'm using, and that's the most common thing. I actually just got some PLA Plus to try that out.
Okay.
But the resin printers actually have a much more pungent smell. They actually smell like plastic.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, it's melted plastic.
But I love it. I haven't had the chance to really utilize it since after Christmas shut down and got back to work. But I'm looking to get back into it, and as soon as I have the chance, it's right next to my desk right here. I have it nice and set up. I just haven't had the opportunity till I look to see what else I can print. I did a lot of test prints during the Christmas break because my wonderful wife got it for me for Christmas, and my boys were really excited to play around with it and try a lot of different tests. I played around a lot with the settings of it. I didn't know that the what's it called, Kira,
yeah.
That it actually had for my printer optimal setting for that printer. So for a long time, my first like 10 prints, I was trying to figure out how to optimize everything and fine tune it the best I can. When I did a little bit more digging, a lot of people said that they had it already optimized, and I tried that, and it had a really good print right off the bat.
Yeah, it's got the profiles set up for specific printers.
Mm-hmm. Where like the older version of that program didn't have it, the latest version does for my printer, and it's been working out. It worked out pretty good in the end. I still have to figure out a couple things. Like I printed off a Millennium Falcon, and for the most part, it looked great. But at the very bottom, though, because I had the pad heated, or the cable heated, and it maintained that heat over the course of the 3-4 hours. I think that it melted the material, or the heat was transferring a little bit too much over the course of time. So it wasn't as good in the first, X amount of layers, like the first 10% of layers, I would say weren't as clean as the rest of it when it started to like cool off. I think because of the
that
amount
could
of
be
heat.
that could actually be a nozzle issue too, because the heat from the print bed shouldn't be that high. You should only be at like 50, maybe 60
And that's where I
Celsius.
was, but for some reason, right at the very bottom,
Hmm.
like right near there, it wasn't as fine as when it actually got the rest of the way. So
That's weird.
There are some things that I just need to try and figure out and tweak potentially. I thought that maybe it was that, since it was right close to the bed, and to maintain that heat the whole time. But you wouldn't really need to have the heat on the whole time, that I would think. Once you hit a certain height, if you're going up.
Yes and no. If you turn the heat off, then it's more likely that the print's going to pop off.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That heat keeps it adhered to the bed.
Maybe I can just lower it then. I'm not sure.
I just
that seems to be the issue.
Yeah,
maybe
mine.
But
I haven't had a problem with it on mine, but most of mine are big flat. They don't have like small areas that are touching. That I've done.
But I also try to do a D20, and a very similar thing. Like the first like 30% of it was very rough, and then the rest of the way it was really well done. You can actually read all the numbers on the die. But
That's
for some
cool.
reason, everything that was on the bottom, especially, you can tell was a little bit melted because it was right on because the very bottom had the 1. And you couldn't read it at all because it was melted down, because I think of the heat just over the course of time, over a few hours. It just slowly kind of melted the material altogether, and you couldn't even read the 1. And then the first 30% of it, you couldn't really tell, like a couple of the numbers around, but then the rest of the way it was good. So again, just tweaking it, learning curve.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so well, let's get into some stuff. Both of you are new-ish now players to D&D.
Yeah.
You've both been playing for over a year. So just to give me some idea, give me some thoughts on what you're thinking about the game itself, D&D as a game, and things like that. What do you how are you feeling about it after not playing it before, and now you're playing it? And you've been playing it for a year. You're kind of getting an idea of what it's like. What do you think of the game?
I understand the obsession now.
Yeah, I definitely understand why people who have played D&D have always loved D&D, because it truly is a nice escape. I mean, granted, my character gets beaten up like no other constantly, which I feel like it's just a metaphor of my life sometimes.
But it's a different method than just playing an RPG on your
You
console.
actually like embody the character.
Exactly. Instead of there's a disconnect still, even though you're dedicated to characters in a video game and you fall in love with those characters, you feel their emotions.
Squall is a shitty lead character. He's a whiny little bitch. Same thing with Vaughn.
Well, and with that, like you're saying, the other thing though is comparing it to a video game, an RPG video game. You have limited options in the RPGs when it comes to things like dialogue and things like that. They've come a long ways with those options, but you still have very limited options when it comes to dialogue. You have they'll give you 3 choices, maybe 5 choices.
Yeah.
But you're limited to those choices. In this, you can take a conversation anywhere you want.
Yeah. The character is how you play the character, not how it's dictated for you, and you have a few choices along the way.
Yes.
Like I said, in a video game, there's a little bit of a disconnect between, even though you embody that character, you fall in love with those characters, and you feel that same emotion, that makes a good video game. And there's plenty of video games that do that. But playing, creating your own character and designing it and actually playing them and interacting with other people, especially close friends, it takes it to a whole nother level that you didn't really know existed, essentially.
Yeah, in video games, yes, you can choose be super goody, neutral, and then usually an asshole are your 3 options. But ultimately their story is still written.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you control everything about your character and how your character reacts to scenarios, which is super cool.
And like your character can and may die and will not come back, and your choices will have a consequence. Which usually in video games, it's not. There's usually a small consequence, but it's part of the story essentially along the way. But not in here, and you don't really realize that. And D&D, something that I've always heard about, I just never really understood or what it really meant, because I didn't actually have anyone that knew about it or played it, so I was never really introduced to it. And I remember when the movie came out, and I heard that it was based off of a game. I worked at the movie theater when that first D&D movie came out, and I thought it was a fun movie, but I didn't have anything to.
What was that? Reign of Fire?
No, it was just
no. It was an actual D&D game.
Oh, there was a
D&D movie.
Yeah, Reign of Fire was different. Reign of Fire was based on real world. It was England and the dragons came back type thing.
Oh, they actually had like a D&D.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons and
like early on, like 2001, 2002 time period, I think.
Yeah.
So
Snails died and they didn't loot his body. That's where right there I lost it all. I'm like, nope, they're not really D&D. You always loot the body.
Always loot the body.
And then I, when you guys started doing the podcast, when you and Russ started doing the podcast, you started talking a lot of D&D, and I was really engaged in a lot of things that you were talking about, but D&D is like I couldn't really connect with. You felt so passionate about it, and I didn't really understand it. I didn't really get it. And then you started talking about Critical Role, and I started listening to that show, and I got a little bit of an idea of what it actually entailed, essentially, because I didn't have anything to base it off of before. Again, didn't have anyone to play with, and no one introduced me to it before. But listening to the Critical Role slowly, and I know you guys are pretty much all caught up. I'm only about episode 50.
I'm about 10 episodes behind now.
I'm all caught up. I'm waiting for Thursday.
But I got an understanding behind it of the appreciation for it. So when you started talking about you wanted to do a podcast and create a D&D campaign, I was totally stoked about it and wanted to get involved with that from the beginning and try and get involved and start playing. So I appreciate you pulling that together and actually becoming our DM for it.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
I'm glad you guys are having a good time. I'm having a blast. This is probably one of my favorite campaigns that I've ever run.
There is a distinct difference between the two campaigns that we're in.
Yes.
That, I mean, you DM both of them, but they are very different games, even though they take place in the same world. It's a difference between, in the other campaign, it's myself and a bunch of, mostly Chris's friends, who are my friends now too, but everyone's been playing D&D for 20 years. And it's almost like everything's cliff noted because they're so used to the repetition of just how fights go.
It's like playing euchre with experienced players where you're just having a conversation and throwing cards without really even thinking about it and looking at it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You're playing the game, but you're mostly just interacting and talking with each other and not really paying attention to what's going on in the game because you know it so well. You know exactly how everything's gonna turn out.
And you know how your partner is actually going to respond based off of what you play. You can anticipate how they're going to react to it.
Every now and then they start to role play, which is great. Like the whole thing that Jake did, or what's his character's name?
Carter. That
Carter battled El Haka for the battle axe just to be a dick, which was hilarious. Because you have my character who is an outsider who joined this group and
late,
very late, and there's still like a deep mistrust between her and like the rest of the group.
Okay.
Because she, with her backstory, she's very slow to trust anyone and all of that. but like she's also the only female in the entire group as well. So when, frankly, Carter and Alhaka started dick swinging over the battle axe, Rosalind is just in the corner like, oh my god, come on. Like, why? Like, Carter, you're not even going to use the battle axe. Why are you fighting over it?
Yeah, Alhaka is a dragonborn barbarian that uses a great axe.
Yeah.
Carter is a Eldritch Knight fighter who does not use a great axe.
Yeah.
And
like,
but we found a magical battle axe. The only person in the party who up to this point does not have a magical weapon is the barbarian.
Yeah.
And so Carter, to be a dick, was like, well, I'll fight you for it.
Yeah. But that's like one of the only role-playing things that we've actually had since I joined the group.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's very little role-playing, and it's like quick play, which is also fun, and the story itself is great.
Oh, I'm sure that it goes a lot faster. I mean, heck, it's
whereas like we will dick around for 45 minutes talking about stuff.
Phelan will dick around talking to plants for a good 20 minutes.
Well,
which is hysterical.
It's hilarious.
And it's
fine. Great, yeah.
That's the difference, though. So what they're doing is their fights are faster. I will say that.
Yes.
That's about the only thing with that campaign that's probably better, and it's only because they know the system better.
Yeah.
They know what they want their character to do in any situation. Whereas a lot of you guys are still learning what your character's abilities are and how you can use them best and everything like that. So that's the difference between someone who's been playing for 20 plus years and someone who's been playing for a year. You're still learning. You guys are doing fantastic, though, and I will say this: the reason that I love this campaign so much is the role playing aspects that have been put into it. And like the way that Pete, you've been playing Euchariah. So let's before we really get into this, let's go over like your characters. Just a quick intro to your characters. So Pete, why don't you go ahead and tell us about Euchariah?
Oh, okay. So Euchariah, he's a halfling wizard.
Which is an odd combo to begin with.
Yeah, and I actually went with that kind of purposely. Which I knew was a bit of a challenge, especially playing a wizard, I think, as a newer player, because at first it seemed very overwhelming to try and understand spell slots and levels. And as I level up, okay, when I hit level 5, I get a level 3 spell, and trying to understand that. But now it's interesting because like I can't imagine it any differently. Like the one time that I think I tried playing Bennick, who is like a fighter, like I didn't know what the hell to do, like in terms of in terms of just doing a normal attack, because I'm used to thinking in terms of spells. And it was a different methodology. At first it seemed overwhelming over a year ago, but now I'm like so fixed on being a spellcaster, it's second nature to me. I feel a lot more now than if I were to play one that isn't a spellcaster. But yeah, Euchariah, I purposely went with a halfling wizard. The wizard, I really like the idea of being a spellcaster. But I went with the halfling because I really was drawn to the idea that kind of like a Yoda type character who can bounce around the battlefield and teleport and be dexterous. Yeah. And like use magic to be able to manipulate everything, and I like that that concept, and I went with that. And plus, I was really drawn to that lucky feat of not. Which I have to say, taking that bountiful luck feat, I keep a running tab of how many times that. When I took that feat and helping out everyone else with their natural ones, and how disappointed I am when I'm 30 feet away from anyone that takes it. I laugh at the day that Phelan does like a performance check and rolls a 1, and I'm just like distracted and I don't do anything. But I'm waiting for that moment to come by. But Euchariah, he was kind of raised alone with a mentor, in the woods. That I don't think that may have may have been before we launched our podcast, but we went. But I met up with the group, and I've still kind of like a little bit of an oddball out. I'm not really connected to anyone within the group. I just kind of joined up overall when we first met at the Temple of the Open Mind, and then we went off together. Everyone else, I think, is kind of connected in some way with each other. But so I'm like my character, he's a little bit difficult in social situations and knowing how to approach things.
Rich isn't really affiliated with anyone either. He was actually with the NPCs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, when we were starting in Phandalin.
But he kind of bonded with Bennick because of
they both have the war background.
Yeah, the soldier backgrounds. So
he's a young soldier and Bennick's an old soldier.
Yep.
And because of his background also and an event that happened in his past, he has a deep fear of goblins. So he's not,
you'll take on a dragon without thinking, but
and I have no problem
shows up and you GTFO out.
Exactly, and playing that is both fun and difficult at the same time. And that was actually something that Chris and I actually developed early on before the show even started, that he has this like deep fear of goblins, something that is just so simple and so like really not a threat, but because of his past, he was scarred by it. And
I applaud you as a role player for adhering to that. Like for instance, those goblins came out and you legit GTFO'd out.
Like, I am gonna Misty step my ass over there.
Yes, and
it took like 2 rounds to fight the rest of them,
which I felt bad.
I mean, statistically, as a party member, it's like, what the fuck? But as a role player, it made the story just so much better that you adhere to that.
And it's like that balance of like, well, this is what my character would do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I don't want to be that type of role player, but that was always fixed within that he had that fear. And really, goblins are they're not really that much of a threat.
Well, and
it's hilarious.
And the thing is that most of the time, halflings are not afraid of anything. They actually have bonuses against fear. But that scarred that when we did your background and we came out and worked on that, I thought that was just a good kind of character trait for you to have. It gave you a
particular flaw,
like a flaw.
Mm-hmm.
It's a human. It's like a human moment is when it could come out. Yeah. It may come out later too. I mean, you never know. But
I'm trying to play it like that he's growing a little bit, like when we met with Raslin, that wizard in Phandalin after our first main adventure, and he has a goblin servant that was actually a good natured goblin, and I was very nerve-wracked about that and trying to role play that. I had fun with that, and I know that it's going to be coming up again, so I'm trying to plan my interactions with that as well. But yeah, when we were talking about like, oh my gosh, there's a green dragon, let's go fight it, guys, and like let's dive right into it. And because you're right, halflings naturally like are not easily frightened, and they actually like have like an ability that prevents them from getting frightened, essentially. But that is like built into my character, so I try and role play it the best I can, but not try and be stupid about it at the same time.
There's definitely a balance.
If I needed to have like a brave moment because like the party was dying, I probably wouldn't let the party die or anything like that. But when I did that one time where I misty stepped away, I remember spending a couple turns kind of peeking around the corner, and I'm like, I look around the corner and do I see a goblin, DM? No, you don't. You only see, I forgot what they're
hobgoblin.
Yeah, it was a hobgoblin.
I'm like, and I even like message you, is a hobgoblin in the same realm as an actual goblin? And you're like, no, they're technically different, and like that you wouldn't have known what it was during your trauma. Like, all right, fireball. Firebolt, at what I could see, so that way I can still help, but I'm still nervous at the same time.
Yeah.
It was so really funny that you dropped a floor on you.
Oh.
Like you dropped a ceiling on yourself, and then you just GTFO'd.
Yeah.
All right, so what about you, Renee?
I play Climbrum Ironfist, who is a dwarven monk who is also a weird combination.
Yes, I was gonna say that's also an odd combo.
Yeah. Yeah, she is a dwarf monk who is she's very family oriented, but also is very also hurt, I guess is the best way to put it, that she was sent away from her family to join the monastery because she's different. But her clan wanted to celebrate that she's different by, sending her the best school that can help her with the traits that she has. But she is weeks away from her family. So she has this this inner conflict of wanting to make her family and clan proud, but she was also sent away from her family.
There's
and
a
clan.
disconnect with your family at the same time.
Yeah, that she was sent away because she's different. And with the direction of where I'm taking her with her monastic tradition, like she wants to be a good student. She wants to make her family and clan proud. But she's learned more on the road on her own than she ever did in school.
Mm-hmm.
So now she has even more conflictedness between, because frankly, Clamber was supposed to go back to school 3 weeks ago. after the whole before the Rasalum thing, she was supposed to go back to school.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's torn because she found a lot of happiness being on the road and doing independent study and essentially self-teaching herself the monastic tradition that she's in, because she's going way of the shadow, which they don't teach at Temple of the Open Mind. The way she discovered this was she stole a book from the temple, which is how she's self-teaching herself everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just torn on the inside of I need to go back to make my family and clan proud, but I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do? And she's currently choosing to be happy because she feels free. But she's constantly conflicted about that.
Yeah, and CD, that's how dwarves meditate, through drinking.
Oh yeah, no, she every time. So on top of that, her mom is a brewer, and her dad is a metalsmith. So the whole and we actually didn't get to roleplay this in the when we were in Phandalin, which is where her family actually lives.
Not Phandalin.
Havenhill. I'm sorry, Havenhill, not Phandalin. Yeah. Havenhill. And so the Iron Fist women are all brewers.
A little bit. He said, well, that's getting close to reality.
I stick with what I know.
And doesn't Clem have two brothers?
Yeah, she has an older and younger brother, yeah. So I changed it.
Well.
Yeah, she has
two brothers. She's the middle child.
She has an older and a younger brother. But the Iron Fist Brewery is always, because brewing is women's work. So it's always passed down to the eldest daughter. Well, Climbrum's just naturally not good at brewing. She's not good at being a dwarf. So she feels like in every aspect of being a dwarf, she's not good at it. So she's also physically much taller than most dwarves because she's never been weighted down by metal.
And she's
she's on it.
She's leaner. Although you've got the strength now.
I have this. Well, she's always had the strength, but she's physically very lean. To the point where she often jokes about that she looks like a adolescent human boy. But yeah,
sorry. Team pint size.
Yeah, team pint size.
Yeah, except that you're a small creature. She's actually medium.
No, she's not. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dwarves are considered medium.
Really? No, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, darn. Okay.
She is a human trapped in a dwarf body.
I did not know that. I thought dwarves were still considered
no,
small.
gnomes and halflings are the only ones that are small.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All of the races are medium.
All right, that actually might impact some decisions later on for me.
The other thing is, so this is actually a family trait, which again we really didn't get into in the role playing when we were in Havenhill. But all the Iron Fist women are beardless, which is very rare. And it's just because they have so many generations of being brewers. They've always been brewers for the clan, that they very slowly just evolved to not have facial hair because it constantly kept getting burned off. And just over generations and generations and generations, they actually don't have facial hair.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I don't think that it's ever really been deeply discussed amongst the party.
No, we got to Haven Hill and then we left Haven Hill almost right away.
Yeah, well, you guys haven't really met many other dwarves yet, other than
other than Gundren and
Nundro.
Yeah.
All the other ones have been dead either.
So then on top of it, Klimbrim was also again sent away from her family and home to study to become a monk because she's good at climbing things. That's where her name is. That's actually what her name means in Dwarven, is to climb. And she's also just like naturally bad at brewing. She's bad at being a dwarf, which she wants so badly to just be a dwarf. But she's realizing that she wants that instead of trying to conform to her clan, she's discovering that finding her own identity is making her happy. So,
can respect that.
But yet at the same time, she lives in the shadows, literally.
Yeah. So, all right. So you guys have been playing for like a year and a half or so now. What would you say is your favorite part of the game?
Role playing. Love the role playing.
Yeah, I would say that there's that part, and then like when we have like that battle against whatever it was, and
wait, you and I got taken out at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's like where, like, I don't know, I felt like all leading up to that, all the battles were you were just like giving us like children's toys to play with, essentially. That like you were softballing it to us. I felt like we were able to get through all the battles fairly unscathed. A few things a little bit.
Yeah, you did, Mr. I had in the back.
I know.
I've been KO'd four times.
But with how many, like, I think because we have 7 characters, and I'm guessing that it's a little bit more unusual.
It is.
Having 7 playable characters. It seems like you probably actually have to go through quite a bit of effort to figure out the proper balance, actually.
It is. It's tough.
Because there's a more character. I don't know what the traditional is. Would it be like 4 to 5 would be more like a higher end?
6 seems to be pretty standard.
6 is what we generally played with as a max. Usually 5 to 6 characters. The way that 5th was written was actually for 4, I think. It was meant to be smaller parties, and I think it was mostly because it was harder to get larger groups of people to be able to coordinate schedules. I mean, look at how difficult how much difficulty we had at the beginning.
The kids that played in the 70s are adults now.
Yeah, and we have adult things that we need to do. Yeah. So and that's the thing. It's when you're younger, you could play all the time. I mean, me and my buddies used to play 3 times a week, or at least once a week. Now playing every other week, which is what we're doing right now, which I think is actually fantastic that we're still we're playing that often.
Yeah,
can still be tough.
It's a chore to try and.
Yeah, and I mean we know that people can't make it all the time, and we're going to be going down to 6 characters because one person has decided that they just can't commit to it, which that's fine. There will always be a place at the table for them. I like the mix that we have.
Yeah. I understand why Ed is backing away, but I'm really sad at the same time.
I'm very sad too.
Klimbrim is already sad. She's losing her best friend.
And like having one of our veterans, you know,
and that's the thing. So we have a group of 8 people total, including me. And we had 3 people who have been playing for decades. 2 people have been playing for 3 to 5 years, and then 3 new people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was a good balance.
Yeah.
And now we're losing one of those people that's been playing, one of the veterans, which is going to be a hit to the game itself. But I think at this point, it's been a year. You guys are starting to come along. You're not really the rookies anymore so much. You actually have some experience while you're still learning, and you still haven't taken your character up yet to that, to get to that end game type of stuff. That's going to be your experience going forward is as you level your character up, is seeing your power level just grow and what you can do, and then fighting things that are just as powerful going forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's where these battles are going to get even nastier and nastier as you guys go up in level.
And you've challenged us the last 2.
Yeah.
That
honestly,
is what I think has gotten the most exciting. Like, everything else has been great, but these last 2, I've never been more excited to play. Like, I've always been more excited to play the next game and looking forward to it, but not like the last month and a half, 2 months.
The mini boss.
Mini boss. That was the main boss. My God.
Bodak? It's a Bodak, right?
The Bodak, yeah. He had one of those. Yeah.
That was 1,000 times harder than the fucking dragon.
Well, the dragon you guys took out in 4 rounds. In less than 4 rounds.
Yeah, but
and the only reason why the dragon fight was easy was
you
because
roll
you were
like
rolling
crap.
for shit.
I have to say, you rolled so many
3 or 4 nat 1s.
Nat 1s.
Yes.
Like, I was watching part of the show when I was getting it ready, and I watched like the beginning of that fight where Russ ran in to fight the dragon, and I rolled a nat 1 on its attack because it was holding an attack until he got close. Until something got close, and Russ ran in, and I'm like, okay, fucking nat 1. The thing had plus 11 to hit.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you rolled very, very crappy.
Very poorly.
So.
The other thing that I think with the new players versus, the super veterans, is that when we were building our characters, we built our characters around concepts versus min-maxing.
Yes.
Like, I put my highest stat in strength because my characters are dwarf. As a monk, that's fucking stupid, and I know that now. Definitely should have put that in dexterity. But I wanted to build a concept, not just a min-max, make the best adventurer I could.
And same with Euchariah, where actually it was interesting because of my halfling, the way that I rolled, I took my highest stat roll and I applied it to intelligence, of course, because I'm a wizard.
Yeah.
However, because of my halfling background, I had a higher dexterity. So I took my second stat and I wanted to have a dexterous, dexterous wizard. But my dexterity is actually higher than my intelligence. I have an 18 dex and a 17 intelligence. And now, even though and I put my highest roll stat towards intelligence, but not having that 18 intelligence, that has really limited me, I feel, because I have a lower DC, my spell DC.
My DC.
I have a lower. I have one less. I think spell that I can prepare. If I have an 18, I have one more spell prepared. I can have a DC 1 point higher for when for saving throws and that. And then I realized how much that has actually limited me. And because I took that feat of Bountiful Luck instead of adding in what Rich did and putting into his wisdom for his and trying to max that out, and I was trying to go based off of concept that my character that's why I went with Bountiful Luck, and rather than just dumping it right into trying to max out my intelligence.
That has
really limited me, but it's been fun playing those limitations.
Rich did a concept as well, but his concept was that he was a cleric. the history of Rich's character, some of it's come out, some of it hasn't, and that's the thing. Is what I like is I like.
Yeah, we need to go into like Octavian's background, like as characters.
He's probably the one that is actually the most mysterious.
He is the most quiet out of everyone.
I'll tell you what, he's the one that saved everyone in the last game.
Oh yeah,
that water walk,
the walk on water.
Yeah, the water walk. When he just went, okay, I'm gonna run over here. And is everyone within 30 feet? Okay, cool. I cast Water Walk. And I was like, oh, fuck.
That just changed the game on you. Job. You didn't expect that.
Oh, I didn't expect but it was one of those proud dad moments. It was like that, oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud that you did that. That's one of the biggest pride moments, I think, in the game so far, is seeing someone know how to use his spells and just have something prepared and be like, fuck, I can use that now. And it's not a low level spell. That's like a 3rd level spell for him, I think. And he just ran over and went, boom, I cast that. And it let all of you go out and actually attack.
Except for the 2 spellcasters.
Yeah. And that's why you were able to take out the dragon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask.
Yeah, because it... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, it with the dragon being in the middle of the lake, you null and voided the melee characters.
Yep.
And he took that away from you by getting the melee characters back in there.
Yep.
Because frankly,
like an hour.
Yeah, because frankly, Climbrum was like, because of the whole, he was in the middle of the lake. Shoot, like my original plan was to actually just teleport over to the horde to distract him to get him closer to shore.
And I was planning on doing something similar. And I think that we found like 2 potions of water breathing.
Yep.
Which I think we all thought were odd, that we found 2 of them that we might need.
Yep.
But we didn't need them.
2 for water breathing and 2 for climbing.
Moon at a time. So all right, so here's the question I'm going to ask you guys, and Climbrum, I think I already know your answer, but so outside of your characters, who's your favorite character so far in the campaign?
Like in our campaign?
Yeah.
And like in players and PCs?
Yeah, I'll let you go. I'll let you go NPCs too, if you want.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking. Honestly, I love Bennick's character, and I'm really sad that Ed left.
I like the interaction between you and Bennick. The camaraderie you guys have role played, I think, has been fantastic. And again, I have to give, especially you new players, huge props for the way that you role play your characters. Mm-hmm. Both of you and Rich have role played your characters so well.
I appreciate that.
And just the way that you stay in character, you do the things that your character would do. The only one who might role play a little bit more than even you guys is
Sydney.
Is Ian with Phelan and him creating songs.
Yeah, well, even Sydney as well.
Yeah,
with Lauka.
You guys got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, she legit 3 battles.
Yeah, just you guys got it. Do you need me? Can I just keep doing my nails?
Yeah, the whole like Climbrum Lauka thing just kind of happened on a whim, because she got ugly drunk one night, and I actually texted her privately. I'm like, "Did our characters sleep together?" She's like, "I don't know. Do you want them to?" I'm like, "Kinda, yeah." Because why not?
Yes, CD, there are some voices.
Question.
It's mostly accents and stuff like that. I try and do voices. I'm not great. I am not.
We are not voice actors.
Yeah, we are not voice actors. But
I give mad props to Russ and to Ian for Ed
and Chris
for everything they do.
The one
I
that
can't do it.
I'm probably most proud of is
that's a good one. The other one that just filled me with absolute rage
Yes.
was that
Tobin,
fucker.
I am pretty, and the
don't
fact that
know
you
what
weren't
you're
there,
talking about.
right, Clem, you were not there.
It wasn't in. Thank
But
God it wasn't
but
in
you
that
were
room because I was going
so
to punch him in the
PO'd.
face.
And I think,
that Weasel. Who was it? Was that in Vandalin?
Yeah, it's in Vandalin. It's Harbin Wester.
Oh my God!
Harbin, the old town master.
Charge of the town master.
He's actually still the banker in town.
Fills me with rage.
If you guys want to do any banking in town, he's the guy you're going to be talking to, though.
So snively.
So it was a good thing I didn't break his nose.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Russ isn't here,
this.
but I'm drinking out of a Superman glass for Russ tonight.
Oh. He's driving home from Florida right now.
Yeah, he's helping his parents. That's why Russ isn't here tonight. He's helping his parents move back from Florida, back to Michigan from Florida. So he's actually
in the ways of like favorite characters. Like I love Bennick's character, because like Ed has told me a lot about, like, because our characters are best friends. So I know a lot of Bennick's backstory that hasn't actually come out in game. Mm-hmm. And kind of same thing with Phelan's character, because I work with Ian and he's been playing Phelan for so long in other campaigns. Like the whole like, well, that's not the first dragon I've battled. I've heard his legit story about the actual other dragon he's talked about, because he told me what happened at that D&D session. And just like Sydney's commitment to Lauka being like, I want all the jewels, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's both frustrating and like makes you smile at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, like and that's what
I want to give her the 1,000 gold piece ruby to shut her up.
And that's what generates good role play, good interaction, good
it's
reaction.
Great.
And my answer would be like, it would be honestly a toss up between Ian and Sydney's characters, because of the way, not only how they react with each other and with us, but like how like my character like has actually reacted with
legit.
and
Ian
like,
started looking at Saturns to see if he could purchase one. And cheap ones go for $800.
Wow.
Gold.
Yeah, so he started
Oh, okay.
He was actually looking at a real life one.
Oh,
at a real life one to purchase, because that's what he would now be playing in game.
Oh god.
Because he's like, I don't have this instrument. So he looked it up, and because he's a string instrument player, and he's good. And so he was looking up like real Citterns to see if he could, buy a cheap one to actually play in game. And the cheap ones are $800, so he's going to be sticking with that oud that he has.
And that's fine.
Yeah, but like he was in the lab. I was showing him how to do sulfur titrations, and he's just like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "What the fuck happened?" He's like, he starts singing the Talk with Botanicals.
Oh gosh.
And he's just saying the whole thing. I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? He's like, I can't wait to sing it on Friday. So
yes, the songs.
I mean, Ian's a real life bard. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And the songs that he's come up with, I think, would be or have been fantastic. They've been absolutely entertaining. I think they're truly they add a lot to the game.
The fairy fighter.
The fairy fighter, just that
hilarious.
Was great. I forget what the other one was that he did. That
he has them listed on his character sheet.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean,
Talk with Botanicals.
Talk with Botanicals was still like, when he pulled that out, I was just like, oh my god, that's so funny. But but yeah. So all right. So I guess with that, what about the game? Do you have any questions about the game or or what we're doing. I mean, I'm not going to give away anything, but I mean, what do you
Like
guys have
story
any
or just like how you are like
story
approaching
or
things as a DM?
about like rules or anything like that you wanted to?
Oh, I was going to ask: Is Raslam a good guy?
Oh, that's not something that you can ask.
I know.
No.
Well, he offered you what, 10,000 gold pieces to get this
Yeah,
thing
but
for him?
evil people have money too. Like, does he want to prevent Vecna or help Vecna?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
I don't trust him as far as I can throw him.
And you know what? It's interesting that you actually pointed that out, because I actually made a character choice because I believe that Raslam is a wizard, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And being the only like second in my mind good wizard that I actually like have gotten to know a little bit more. I'm not sure how we didn't really delve much into the Temple of Open Mind per se, but from my background, I was close to one.
Mm-hmm.
But
You've probably met a few others, but you really weren't
not
close
really
to
close.
any.
But I immediately gravitated towards Raslam as a fellow wizard, and I just made like a blind decision to just kind of like trust him. And I know that you guys were all very skeptical. And
I'm super skeptical of him.
And while I have a reservation with the company that he keeps as a character, I like immediately like just like was like, oh, please teach me. And because I never I lost my mentor essentially, and I looked at him as a new mentor that I can learn from and grow from. And while you guys were all like very skeptical and questioning him, I was like, please teach me. Can I read like your library? Can you help me teach me what you have from your spell book? And that's how I'm actually like approaching it.
I'm really looking forward, now that you guys are done with Stone Tooth / the Forge of Fury is actually the adventure that I just ran with a lot of modifications. Now that
what was like a modification then?
What's that?
What was one of your modifications?
All the undead.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all of that was all me. That was.
Are you saying like what affected like the cleric, like Rich's character Octavian?
Yep.
Because that really like screwed him up the entire.
Yeah,
that I actually really enjoyed that, and I liked the way that he role played that.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So for those that haven't necessarily watched it, basically what happened was the cleric in the group, who is a cleric of Pelor, who is the god of light. He has a mace called Lightbringer, which was actually a mace created for a cleric of Pelor ages ago, and it can glow like a torch, like a light spell, really. And he had it on, and it kept getting dimmer and dimmer, and the cleric himself kept having this feeling of dread. Some of the other characters had a feeling of dread, and then when you got to a certain level, it got worse. And when I had all of you roll, it was actually to see who succeeded against the Bane effect. It was a permanent Bane over the area because of that portal being open on that level.
Yeah, screwed us up so bad.
And so that's why I kept looking to see when you guys would roll to attack or something like that. I would see who had Bane, and I would actually roll a d4. I would have you I'd say roll a d4 for me as well. And it was because I was taking that, whatever you rolled on that d4, away from whatever you rolled. So if you rolled a 16 and rolled a 4, you got a 12.
Yeah. That really that made a big difference.
Yeah, it sure did.
I really thought that we were close to a TPK.
You were never actually close to a TPK.
I felt like we were. I felt like you threw us a bone.
You KO'd three of us.
Yeah, but 4 were still up, so over half the party was still up.
True, but I think that
barely.
you ducked out early on our behalf.
Nope, that was the plan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then on top of it, you turned me.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that Climbrum's going to be fucked up from that for a while.
Yeah, the succubus charmed you. Yes.
Yeah.
And I knew, like, when that happened, it's like I there's no way I can outrun a monk. I can miss a step, but you can double dash and get me.
Or you can miss a step. I go through the shadow realm.
She can shadow. She was a shadow stepped.
I just knew that there's nothing that I could do to, like, get away from you.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments, I think, so far in this game was Phelan and the succubus.
Yeah.
And the help! Help! Help!
When he went into the room alone with it, when we still thought it was like a human female that was just trapped by a wizard.
Yeah, she was like, she was coming on pretty hard, and we totally threw him in that room.
Yep, and she gave him that succubus kiss that drained him, and he made his save.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's why he was like yelling for help.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, he actually made his save on that, which that was actually a lot of fun. Just a lot of the interactions that you guys have had and the way that you've played things, like Bennick playing his distrust of orcs, because I mean that's who he was fighting against. It's that
when we were in the town just outside of Stonetooth with the essentially, I think, like the one who was running that particular town.
Yeah, I was looking for the name. I've got it here somewhere. I gotta find my notes with it on it.
Yeah, I have it written down somewhere too. But it was run by a good orc, right?
Yeah, that was the one that talked kind of slow, but
I like that.
What's that?
And I like the fact that it was an orc who we've fought many of, and like before and after when we went to Stonetooth, that it was, it shows that you do a very well and good blend of like creatures and characters that are both good and evil, that are different races.
And that town, Blasingdale, is a mix of orcs, humans, goblins. For the most part, that's the main groups that you saw in the town, and they were all living peacefully together in the Pomars, which is an area that's actually the Orcish Empire of the Pomars now. And they were at war 15 years ago with Ulick, the principality where you came from. Principality just took a bunch of their land back, because when the Pomars invaded, they actually took a whole bunch of land. And you guys have been to some of the ruined cities. Thunderstrike, the one where that dragon was. That's actually a ruined town that was destroyed during the war.
But the dragon still is.
Maybe.
Probably. Dragons don't move around that much, right?
I mean, it's a young dragon.
No. Probably turned adult since we've last were in that area.
We've only actually, like, from the start of the game to now, it's only been about 12 weeks.
Yeah,
I know that, but I'm pretty sure that I remember
3 months.
I remember our DM saying that I forgot what's the black dragon's name?
Oh, the one that you guys just fought?
Yeah.
Nightscale. Yeah.
Did you say that it was originally a young dragon and you actually made it an adult?
Well, it in the adventure, in the module, that dragon is actually there, and it is a young dragon in the module.
I thought you said that you actually made it an adult afterwards.
I did turn it into an adult because of what level you guys are, and the fact that you were a party of 7. So that dragon is actually meant, the adventure you guys just finished is actually supposed to be for levels 3 through 5. I believe it is.
Really? Interesting.
Yes. So I upped a lot of the levels. And that's one of the things that you guys will see. One of the things I will do, because I don't want to have to always be throwing bigger, nastier things at you. What you guys may see in the future is you may just see me take things like zombies or skeletons or orcs or things like that and increase their hit points, increase the number of attacks that they have to kind of match what you guys are doing. Like, you guys are all now at a point where the warriors and stuff have double attacks and things. So if you fight an orc, that orc's going to probably have 2 attacks as well. It's going to be something that's going to be more on line with what you are. Just because you're fighting something that is a lower level creature doesn't mean you're actually fighting a lower level creature. I'm going to increase their abilities. A lot of the stuff that you guys fought, like the zombies and
You're
stuff.
going to world balance.
Yes.
Of course,
I increased like the zombies stuff. The one I didn't increase was the ghost that you guys fought. You guys took that
The
ghost
mentor?
out. No, the ghost.
Oh, the
It
ghost
just-
before that. Yeah.
Yeah, the one ghost, the dwarf. You guys took that thing out like it was nothing. And now I look back at it, I'm like, I should have upped its hit points or something like that. But
Okay.
it was more of a. It rolled really bad. I rolled really bad for initiative for that, so it was one of those things. But
Gotcha. Because an adult dragon, like, because that's where like it affected what I was doing. I think those legendary resistances of yours, because twice that actually impacted what I actually tried to perform.
well,
And you said like it was doing 2 of the legendary resistances.
Yeah, it had legendary resistances and it had legendary actions because you were in its lair.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
And that's one of the things you'll see is a lot of creatures, a lot of the big bad creatures. If you're fighting them in their lair, they get lair actions.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And it's one of those where there's certain ones get actions that happen at initiative 20 in the order, and then there are other actions. That's usually the lair actions, and then there's legendary actions, which can happen at any time after another person's or creature's initiative order.
Oh wow.
They can do it. Like the one thing that dragon didn't do that I thinking about it afterwards should have done is it should have done a wing attack. And what that is basically it does a wing attack. Everyone around it has to roll, I think it's a dex save, or fall prone along with taking the damage. And then it gets to fly half of its flight movement speed.
Wasn't it in the water though?
It was, but it could jump up out of the water.
Then do the attack.
Yeah, there's nothing saying that it can't do that as it basically rises up out of the water.
Okay.
It does the wing attack and then.
So one thing that you were actually asking earlier, Chris, is like any questions that we had for you. So one thing that I'm trying to just kind of plan ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we're at level 6 right now. I'm already thinking of
You're already
level
thinking 8. Yeah.
I'm already thinking of level 8 because I've been asking you a little bit of questions in that. So I'm curious about like I'm looking at feats right now because I like the idea. Like I know that like Rich, who plays Octavian, and a few others just took the ability to score bumps. Personally, I just like the idea of feats and like having those additional abilities. And while I took Bountiful Luck the first time, and I know that it has made a fairly good impact to the game from our perspective, to your frustration. But you know, I really want to. I'm looking at the feats that can impact where I can like bump up my intelligence a little bit, but get a little bit extra with it too. Because I'm at a 17, so getting a double bump to like 19 really isn't going to do much. I don't want to throw it off into something else right now. So I'm wondering about like passive perception, passive investigation, and like how much you utilize those and how those actually are utilized within the game itself. Because one of the feats that I'm looking at can give me that bump that I want, but would actually give me a significant bump to those features as well.
Yeah, it's the observant feat, right?
Correct. So I'm
Yeah.
curious on like how much you actually utilize that and what actually that impacts. Because what I was doing some research, there's a lot on passive perception, but not so much on the investigation side, which is actually, being the wizard with high intelligence, I do a lot of the investigation when we're searching around a room.
Yeah.
So how would that impact?
So your passive scores come into play when you're not actively looking for something. So like if you're on watch at night, okay, and you're paying attention, but you're not like actively constantly looking around. Like, it's the you see something in the distance. Okay, make a perception roll to see if you can see. I want to see what that is. That's an active perception roll. A passive perception roll is something's trying to sneak up on you. Your passive perception, passive perception versus their hide skill.
Okay.
Versus their hide roll. So if you have a passive perception of 18 and they roll a 16 for their hide or whatever, your passive perception, even though you don't know that they're there, so you're not actively looking for them, they're walking and you hear a twig break or you hear rubble move or something like that. Something gives them away to you.
Okay.
And a passive investigation would be you're walking down a hall and there's a secret door over here, and as you're walking down you just go, wait, what
was that?
Yeah, what was that? There's something here.
Okay.
And you can spot it. That type of thing. It's
because a lot of what I was doing research on, there's a lot on the passive perception, but not so much on that investigation.
Passive investigation is something that's much more of an active skill, the way that it's described, because it's you actually actively looking for something. Whereas perception, the way that I've always seen it described is perception is you looking at things around the area. So you're checking out the area. Investigation is you actually examining something. It's you physically touching it, physically looking at it, or physically looking at a spot.
But maybe like seeing that something is out of place or out of the ordinary when we're in a particular room or, like you said, a hallway. Because like in Stone Tooth, there's a lot of, I think that we found a lot of secret doors along the way. But that required I think that there was a time where, and maybe in the last game that we played, we kind of hit a spot where there's nowhere else to go. Like we hit a hallway. We found a secret door. There's a narrow hallway. It goes north. It goes south. We investigated north, and I think it led back to like where we were before. And then there's a spot that goes south, and it's like, I think Lauka or someone like said that they didn't find anything. It's like, but what, there's nothing here. And I think that I like took a second glance at it, and that's when we found like because she rolled poorly.
She did.
And I rolled pretty well because my investigation is really
I think that was a DC 18 to find that secret door.
And there's a secret door there, but she missed it. Would like that passive investigation been a little bit more beneficial in seeing something like that just out of the blue? In
that case, probably not, because you would have been actively looking for it. So the way that passive, and I've seen this argument, I've had this argument, and the way that I rule it is that if you are actively looking for something, because the big argument is, well, if my passive perception is 23 and I roll really poorly and only get like a 15, well then how can I be less than what my passive would have been? And I'm like, it's because you're actively looking and you might miss something. With the passive, you're not paying attention and you just catch something out of the corner of your eye or you hear something, things like that. I'm like, if you're actively looking, you don't get a minimum of your passive. And that's what some people have tried to argue is that they should get at least a minimum of their passive. And I'm like, no. That's not the way it
And
works.
that's why, that's why I wanted to ask you a little bit about that, especially about that past investigation, because if I did take something like that feat, then it would give me a significant bump.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just understanding like how that would impact, like,
I mean,
like the approach.
One is intelligence based, and the other is what is it? Wisdom based
Yeah,
too.
perception is wisdom, and investigation is intelligence.
But you're observing two very different
things.
So where
like I can tell you, Ian's natural like human passive perception is fucking -1.
I always got watching.
He'd be on the show. And actually, he jokes about that too, because he puts down his coffee mug and walks away, and it's lost forever. I shit you not. All the boys I work with have ADHD, and apparently, like, object permanence is not a thing in their lives. Okay. So, like, but yeah, it's
okay. But that was one of the things for me, because I think that there's been some times, especially with like that passive perception, that before you were like, when we were still playing around at a table, there were times that you actually like got up and be like, you like threw me a note or whispered to me something that I might have heard in somebody else.
I miss the whispers around the table. I will say
that you like. Yeah. you only told certain of like one or two of us, right? Because I think that it was probably that passive perception, like we heard something or observed something that no one else.
I miss the whispers too, because you can physically see the DM walk over. Whereas playing online, he just whispers to you and you have no idea, like the other party members. I do really miss being around the table, but I feel like what we've done online has been hugely successful, especially with a shift to Forge.
Yeah, I think okay, yeah. So shifting to Forge/Foundry or Foundry/Forge, because it's actually Foundry is the program that we're using, and it's hosted on Forge. I think that has been fantastic.
Just the graphics themselves are prettier.
Yes, I agree.
But I personally don't like the what do you call it, the actual character sheet on Forge. I think the Roll21 is far superior, but or even the D&D Beyond one.
I just use D&D Beyond.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even bother with the Foundry one. I just pull up the D&D Beyond one.
Same here. I have my computer that had like the main computer. I have my laptop. I do Foundry on here and do D&D Beyond on.
Whereas like
that's why you always see me looking off to the side because I have my second monitor here.
Well, that's what I do. I run the game on this monitor, and all the adventure stuff is on this monitor. So I'm always looking over here to see what's going on, and that's where I've got all the characters and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay,
or all the creatures. I usually have my character sheet on the monitor here,
and I've got all my dice right here still. So let's see, like I'm like, oh, that's a 2. Oh, and then a nat 20. So, which I didn't roll one of. I did not roll one nat 20 last week. I rolled like 4 nat 1s, and not a single nat 20.
My one die here has been in the same dice jail for 4 sessions because I'll do like random like little rolls, and an 11.
You should hold up your dice jail.
Oh, my gelatinous cube.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
The die actually goes in the top.
Nice. I like that.
My little gelatinous cube dice jail. Yeah.
But I am really.
That was an Etsy find. You can get that on Etsy for like $30. I recommend them. They're cute.
I'm really looking forward to this Friday after finishing Stone Tooth. Which feels like we've been there forever. Like,
I'm looking forward to a role play heavy session.
And that's what this week is probably going to be. It's going to be very role play heavy. You guys may have some little fights, but
we've been in Stone Tooth probably. I think it took 5 sessions.
Yeah, it was a big. It's a big dungeon.
we thought that what the Lost Mine was big. That
The
was
Wave Echo Cave we thought was big too.
that's what I
Yeah.
meant. Like the Lost Mine, like Wave Echo Cave. That's nothing. Oh my gosh, that was one level. This was what? Like this was like 4 like levels.
Yeah, 4 levels. It was 4 different levels. Yeah.
Okay.
And each level was like the size of Wave Echo Cave. I felt like it was intense, and
Yeah.
Wait,
and just everywhere we turned, there was a room with like, oh, there's zombies here, and there's an animated rug here, and then there's like
yeah, that animated
here.
rug. Oh, that was awesome.
And then there's a wooden table. And
Was it Tavern Knights that we had the animated table?
Yes.
Not the other one.
No, it was animated. Yeah,
we had an
okay.
animated rug and table.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like
so Renee,
a dragon and
Bob just said that I need a dice gel that holds about 6 cubic feet.
I don't know Bob watched the show. Stinker Fang? That's
yeah,
Bob?
Yeah, once in a while he does.
Oh. Hi Bob.
Um,
You can actually get the print for these too, and you can print them on the 3D printer.
yeah.
Just saying.
I'm waiting for you to paint your mug.
I need to practice with the airbrush, and now that my fingers are finally better, because I haven't been able to paint in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I broke 4 fingertips about 7 weeks ago.
wow.
My hand got crushed, or hands got crushed.
Both hands, yeah.
In a falling pallet shelf. Cliff note version of what happened. And I haven't been able to crochet. I haven't been able to sew. I haven't been able to paint. I haven't been able to live because it is. Oh my god! Learning how to retie my shoes without your middle and index finger of both hands. Good lord! So like I've actually learned how to like tie my shoes just like
really?
grab clawing it.
Yeah.
And there was one time at work I needed to put on a chemical apron on, so I'm trying to like tie it behind my back but couldn't because I can do it while I see it, but behind my back it did not happen. I had to ask the owner to tie my apron on me.
And CD, D&D players don't usually use dice cups. Well, you can slap it down and play liar's dice. I have
a little tray.
I got a natural 20. Yeah, I got a natural 20.
Good. Glad we're not playing.
Yeah. No, it's the liar's dice thing.
No.
Oh. But yeah, Renee uses a dice tray. I just use my desktop to roll dice on.
Yep. I
got a 17, an 18, and a 19.
I got a dice tray too.
Okay, yeah, you got the hex one, whereas Renee's got the square.
Actually, I think we got the same color.
Yeah.
Because purple's the best.
Yeah. And I have my little my little dice bag.
Yep.
For those
my dice bag
Final
too.
Fantasy players, a little Tom Berry.
I'd grab my dice bag. It's over here on the side, but it's
I love
it's
mine
just a Crown Royal bag. That is the dice bag of D&D players everywhere.
I would do
Mine's segmented.
Yes, I got you that for.
You did. You got this for me for Yule.
Yeah.
Well, when I saw the Tom Berry from Final Fantasy, I know that you probably don't play Final Fantasy, Chris, but the Tom Berry is like the cutest little like bad guy. But
it's the cutest, most deadly thing that makes your butt pucker.
Yeah, if he gets close to you, you're dead.
Yep.
And there's like a little like natural one that's on his like dice.
Yeah, I like that Rich has the little mimic.
And I got that, and actually 2 years ago for we like in our family we have the Secret Santa, and I got Rich for the first time in I don't know, since we actually started, and I was so excited, and we were it was the first year we were playing D&D, and Rich he loves mimics. I think that have we ever actually fought a mimic yet? Nope. Technically, no. So I think Rich is really looking forward to it. Fighting his first.
I love mimics.
And
Just
And
wait till you walk into the first room in a dungeon that has barrels, chests, and a cake on the table.
So I got him a mimic, like little, like dice case.
Yeah.
Because Renee
for
paints
Christmas.
mimics like crazy, and she does a really good job with them.
This is my mug mimic.
Mug mimic. I love it.
And I want Chris to like print off like an actual cake because I have the little cake mimic that I painted.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Ian and I at work were brainstorming one day. We're working and just like BSing. And he's like, "You need to stop painting things that we're going to fight." And he's like, "I am not," because I had like literally 2 nights before posted the pictures of the cake mimic that I had painted. And he's like, "We're going to walk into a room. It's going to be barrels. There'll be chests. And it's going to be a cake. And you know Phelan's dumbass is just going to walk up and take a bite of cake."
Yeah.
So like I want Chris you recently printed actual barrels that I plan on painting, and like just straight up chests. We need to find just a standard cake because I have the cake mimic too. The cake mimic's my favorite. It's so stupid. I love it.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Hey, Chris,
yes.
There's one other thing that I wanted to ask you. There's some things that, like, overall, like, so far in our campaign, I don't think that we've had a lot of downtime.
Nope.
We've kind of been going go, 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 go.
You have.
No, yeah, we've been like hitting it hard.
From one thing to another, there's just been no general downtime. But
the most downtime was to travel between cities.
Yep.
Yeah, but I know that Chris has actually mentioned before, and I don't know how much you actually want to reveal like right now, but I was curious if you'd like to talk about it, like certain downtime activities that like us as characters can build upon, that like in terms of skills or spells or improvements that we would be able to do once we actually hit a particular time point of downtime. And what would that entail? I know that you said that you have a lot of things like planned, but we just never, over the course of almost a year and a half, we really haven't had that yet because it's been so focused on going from one point to another and trying to like going from Phandalin to Wave Echo Cave to the Stone Tooth, essentially.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking right now. I know I've got it.
I know you have a lot of things planned. Again, I don't want to put you on the spot and like reveal too much that you don't feel like sharing right now, but I'm curious whatever
you guys will probably have some downtime. And I do have a way that you can, I did create a, I'm looking for it right now on how to create or how to do I'm looking for, I actually did create a I don't know where it is right now, but basically I have a way of where you can learn new skills. So it's a downtime activity and it takes so many weeks and it's based on your intelligence as well as generally another skill and or another ability. But you can learn a skill if you want, or you can learn a language, or you can learn tools, proficiency in a tool. It's basically a way to get proficient in another thing. And I'm looking for the...
I'm assuming it would come at like a particular cost and time.
Yeah, it's time and money, and then you have to do a skill roll. I know I did this.
Sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
no, that's...
I was very curious about that since I wasn't sure when we would actually approach that, but you've mentioned it before, and it's something that's kind of like always been, curious in like how it would come about, especially the fact that like depending on the time, like how we could actually factor that into the overall arcing story. Because if it does take weeks, how do we go about that? Because it seems like, the quest that we're on is pretty time critical almost. And essentially having a downtime of a month or two doesn't seem exactly like where the direction of that we're going.
Well, and it depends. Right now, you guys have gone from one thing to another, but you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know. I mean, there may be time to where you may have some time between adventures. It's you guys right now. I'm really looking forward to you guys right now, because this next thing, it may not even be this next one, but depending on how long it takes and what you decide to do. But you're heading back to Phandalin now to deliver this circlet back to Razlim.
Yep.
Well, once you get back to Phandalin too, it'll have been like 3 weeks by the time you guys get back there.
Yeah, actually, I don't think that we're fully aware of how much time has truly passed.
And that's the thing. By the time you get back, it'll have been 3 weeks since you left.
Okay.
So your manor's going to be done.
We're going to half our session's going to be us exploring the manor.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You guys are going to get to go explore your manor.
Oh, that's cool.
You're going to have to meet with Razlim and all that, and then explore your manor, and so I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that are going on, and then you don't know where you're going next. You don't know what the next step is. At this point, you guys have been going. You know that there's another piece you need to find.
Okay.
But you don't know where it is. You haven't found anything as far as
no clues
as to where that goes. So yeah, there's going to be a lot. The next couple of sessions are probably going to be very heavy RP.
Okay,
I'm totally cool with that, because we had a couple sessions that were very heavy combat.
You had 5 that were just dungeon delving. So
dungeon crawling.
So you're probably going to have like 2 that are going to be very thing. So I found an old note that I created. This isn't the whole thing that I wrote out, but basically what it is that the base time to train in a language, tool set, or skill is 10 weeks.
That seems fair.
Minus your intelligence bonus. So it's a number of weeks minus your intelligence bonus. So if you have a +4 intelligence bonus, it only takes you 6 weeks. If you have a -5, then it only takes you 5 weeks. The base cost is 25 gold pieces per week. Plus, you must maintain at least a modest lifestyle, which is 1 gold piece per day.
Yeah, we're fucking rich.
Yeah, at the end of
Rich is my middle name.
Yeah, at the end of that training, you need to make an intelligence check, which the DC is to be determined, as a final exam. What I changed that to was...
what's that?
You have to make an intelligence check. But what I wound up changing that to, and I know that I did this when I was doing it, it's like if you wanted to learn acrobatics, okay, it would take you 10 weeks.
That would be a perfect example.
Okay,
like
it would take you...
But I'm not proficient in it.
It would take you 10 weeks, minus your intelligence bonus.
7 weeks.
Okay, so 7 weeks. So you would study. You would study for 7 weeks, and be practicing and everything like that. At the end of that 7 weeks, you have to make 2 rolls. You have to make an intelligence check, and at that point, for that particular one, a dexterity check. If you succeed on the DC for both, and it's an average, you make the 2, and then there's a DC that you have to beat as an average between the 2. If you make that, you succeed, and you are now proficient in that skill.
And that's with our bonus as it is.
But you don't get a proficiency bonus. That's just a straight intelligence.
No, but if I were to do like an in check and then a dex check, it would just be whatever
your skill, whatever your actual
to that is right now.
Yeah, it's
and
a
we just have to
D20
meet
plus
and-
whatever those are, and then if you succeed, you're proficient in it. So now, whenever you get to roll it, you then get to mark that you are proficient in like acrobatics. If you fail, you can then study for an additional amount of time, and I forget how many weeks I said that was going to be. And here I said if you fail, you must spend another week training at the same costs, and at the end of that week, you take another exam. Same results, success, failure. After that, if you fail again, you cannot become proficient in that skill.
Oh, okay. I'm guessing that would actually have to be depending on where we're at and the availability of, craftsmen or tradesmen.
you would have to find someone that could train you in that ability.
What about like an expertise in something? If you're already proficient and you want to be like an expert at
it, you can't get expertise without a skill.
Okay.
Without a feat, you can't get expertise.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Just curious.
Yep. So, all right. Well, we should probably wrap things up because we're actually heading on 2 hours now.
Oh yeah.
Surprisingly, wow, this went by fast.
It sure did.
But I had a great time. I thank you guys for coming out and joining me. We are playing this Friday.
Woo!
Can't wait.
I can't wait either. I'm really looking forward to this. I actually really like our RP sessions because of how good you guys do, and just the interaction between you guys. I've been watching some Critical Role, and there was this episode that I'm watching. It was the first hour was the one mage, the one wizard in the group, just describing this. It's a spell that he created, and it's this like little pocket dimension, and it was an hour of him describing all the different rooms in this place, but
it's fucking cool.
It was really cool. But Matt Mercer is like, that's the easiest hour of DMing I've ever had because he just sat back and he was just quiet for an hour. He just sat there like,
wow,
and let Caleb do his thing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I hope to be that.
You can tell that Liam O'Brien spent a lot of time writing it.
He said he spent over a year.
He wrote a short story for it.
Oh, that's
did he?
Yeah, which you'll get I think in the next episode. Because how he describes like those same 4 books.
Yeah.
Well, one of them is a child's story, and Jester goes to read it one evening, and it's all in Zebnian. So she will have, and it's a wee spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler. So she asks Caleb to read it to her because she wants to read the story, and he wrote the short story.
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
He made it up, and it's awesome.
Yes, CD. Those people that is actually their job now. For the most
that
part.
is their job. Yeah,
and someday I hope we can do that someday. Where it's
but we're probably not. We're not voice actors.
Yeah. I mean, we get like 3 people watching, and I'm excited as hell. So it's one of those things where,
but it's fun.
I'm excited just playing. I mean, I know that like we're on YouTube, and you can listen to us, but just playing and interacting and looking.
And that's
forward
the thing.
to it. That's where the real joy is. It's not whether or not people are.
And that's the thing.
For me,
even if we were to drop the streaming aspect, I would still want to continue this campaign.
Absolutely.
Because I am having so much fun playing it and just interacting with you guys.
Well, the first year we didn't actually do any of the streaming. We didn't start up until I think about October this year when we kicked off.
September. Yeah.
September. Okay, and then but we started it around that time, like in 2019.
Yep.
Is like when we officially kicked everything off. So we spent almost an entire year before we actually started publishing anything.
Yep.
And talking to Rich and Renee, like, you know, the three of us, you know, being siblings and like being so close.
Yeah, apparently we're weird. Our
How,
family's weird that we're close.
really?
Apparently that's not a thing between like normal families. Siblings aren't close and they don't like to hang out. I never knew that.
I cannot imagine not hanging out with you and Rich. I mean, like,
yeah, neither can I.
Like,
but I've been told by multiple people that like, you hang out with your brothers. I'm like, yeah. Especially when we're doing like trivia every Monday.
Gosh.
Like, you go play trivia with your brothers? I'm like, yeah, why don't you? Because I hate my sibling.
Someday we'll be back to doing that and sitting around a table together.
I cannot wait. But even before we were like publishing and we were just recording, and I know that those aren't even published, like every single session, as soon as we're done, I'm already excited for like the next 2 weeks or month when we were going to get back and try and plan for the next one. Like after that first session, like, and honestly, nothing really happened in that first session in terms of us interacting other than just introductions and you introducing the entire world to us, right? Like I don't think we didn't have a single fight. It was all like strictly RP. But you set the stage and just looking so forward to where our characters are going to go next, what we're planning to do. Like I said, I'm already like, we're level 6. I'm planning on like how I'm going to approach things at level 8 for the next you guys are even level 7.
Yeah,
like
you guys are actually really close to level 7.
So right level now. 7, you know, like as a wizard, I'm going to get 4th level spells. I am debating on what the heck I'm going to actually take for that, and trying to like see what my character is going to do. I am so excited about it. It's something that I think about like nonstop. I know Rich is the same way. Renee, I know you're the same way. I'm not sure how the others are, but just talking to you guys, like, well, I know for the three of us, the newbies in the group, essentially, like we all think about it almost nonstop and just look so forward to it and try to plan ahead and look just, you know, are really excited the fact that when it ends, I want the next section to be starting tomorrow, essentially. So on Friday, I'm going to be looking like, why can't we play on Saturday?
Right?
Yeah, that's one of the things. I really like how you guys are interacting. I like the way that you guys are building friendships. The interaction between Eukaraya and Lauka, I think, has been hilarious.
Oh, that's
fun.
I've had it. It's fantastic.
Really it really cute.
Trying to like build like certain like relationships. Yeah. Actually, surprisingly, I think that the ones that I don't have much interaction with would be Rich's character Octavian, and I think Bennett would probably be like my two that I haven't interacted with most. Mm-hmm. Like Klimbrim and I, like we often have like a watch.
We do watches together, so we've at least like, bonded over that.
Yeah, and we both are really big into like history and books and knowledge.
Yeah. Klimbrim gave you your first spell book.
Yeah, and until a few minutes ago, I honestly thought that you were like a small creature, and I always thought that we were like team pint size together, but I guess not.
Because how tall is Eukaraya?
3 feet.
Oh, and Klimbrim's 4'7".
Oh gosh, you tower over me.
Yeah, she's a tall dwarf. Yeah. So she physically looks weird too.
Yeah.
She's tall and lean, instead of being short and squat.
Actually, I don't think is that tall for a dwarf.
It's tall for dwarf females. They're usually 4'5".
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I purposely made her 2 inches taller.
I can talk this stuff all night long with you guys.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. It's bedtime.
Yeah. I think we need to wrap this up because it has been 2 hours now. I would love to do this again. Honestly, I think doing a separate show as Tavern Talk where we talk about the game and things like that would be a blast. Something we might be able to do like every other week along with the show. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if we can work that out. If we can get other people in, that'd be cool. Do it obviously on another night than this, but yeah. Cool. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming out. I really do appreciate you coming out and filling in for Russ. I had a blast talking D&D. Like I said, I could talk D&D all night, various things. I want to get into some stuff with Tasha's and stuff like that in the future. Start talking about that, all sorts of things. So, but I think, yeah. So I don't normally do the whole thing where you can find us, but you can find us on pretty much anywhere where you can get your podcast fix. We are on iTunes, Google Podcasts, I think it is now.
iHeartRadio, Instagram,
all those different places, and you can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show, Twitter @Drinking Nerds, Instagram Drinking Nerds, and you can follow us on Untapped, or friend us on Untapped. You just do a search for Drinking Nerds, send us a friend request, and we'll get you added on there.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate you coming out.
Of course.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
I think that's for this week. That's going to do it. So until next time.
Until next time.
Do you want me to come up? I can clean the glass with you.
No, that's okay.
Oh,
okay.
Go ahead and do it really quick.
I got 2 glasses
no,
here.
No. Have her do it really quick. It's going to be cute and adorable.
She's running upstairs. Okay.
Yes.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Sláinte. Thanks, honey. Have a good week, everybody.